Robert Redford is dead at the age of 89. The world woke up to the heartbreaking news that one of cinema's greatest icons has passed away, quietly in his sleep at his home in Sundance, Utah. He was surrounded by family, leaving behind not only a grieving household, but an entire industry and millions of fans across the globe who adored him. Robert Redford was not just another Hollywood star. He was the Hollywood star for more than half a century, an actor who could make an audience swoon with just a smile, but who also carried enough depth to transform a role into something timeless. His death marks the end of an era because Redford wasn't simply part of film history, he shaped it. Born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California, his early life was far from glamorous. His father, Charles Sr., was an accountant for an oil company, while his mother, Martha, was a homemaker who tragically passed away when Robert was just 18 years old. That loss, at such a young age, scarred him deeply and would inform his sensitivity as both a man and an artist. Young Redford wasn't an academic star. In fact, he struggled with school and later admitted he was more interested in art, sports, and the freedom of life outside the classroom. After high school, he briefly attended the University of Colorado on a baseball scholarship, but he dropped out and began traveling, eventually studying art in Paris. For a time, he dreamed of becoming a painter. Yet fate intervened. His charisma and striking looks made him stand out when he later trained in acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York. From there, his career began to take off. By the early 1960s, Redford was performing on Broadway, earning attention in Neil Simon's comedy Barefoot in the Park. He reprised the role in the film version in 1967, starring alongside Jane Fonda, and Hollywood finally recognized his potential. But his real breakthrough came in 1969 with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Starring alongside Paul Newman, Redford delivered one of the most iconic performances of all time as the Sundance Kid, cementing his status as a leading man. Their chemistry lit up the screen, and suddenly, Robert Redford was a household name. Throughout the 1970s, his career exploded. He was everywhere, starring in Jeremiah Johnson, The Candidate, The Way We Were with Barbra Streisand, and of course, The Sting, once again alongside Paul Newman. That film not only became a massive box office hit, but won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Redford wasn't just popular, he was dominating Hollywood, combining critical success with commercial power. But what made Robert Redford stand out was that he never settled for being a pretty face. He chose roles with substance. In All the President's Men in 1976, he played journalist Bob Woodward, telling the story of the Watergate scandal that had shaken the United States. At a time when trust in politics was crumbling, Redford brought a sense of integrity and urgency to the screen. His choice of films reflected his belief in art as a mirror of society. Then, in 1980, he made the bold leap into directing. His debut film, Ordinary People, stunned Hollywood. A quiet, emotional drama about a family dealing with loss. It won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Redford himself. For a first-time director, it was almost unheard of. Overnight, he was no longer just a movie star. He was a filmmaker with vision and talent. But his influence went even further. In 1981, he founded the Sundance Institute in Utah, later launching the Sundance Film Festival. This was Robert Redford's gift to independent cinema. The festival became the ultimate launching pad for filmmakers who didn't have Hollywood connections or big studio backing. Directors like Quentin Tarantino, Steven Soderbergh, and Damien Chazelle all owe part of their career to Sundance. Redford built a platform that democratized filmmaking, giving new voices a chance to shine. Through the 80s and 90s, Redford continued to balance acting, directing, and producing. He directed A River Runs Through It in 1992, helping to launch the career of a young Brad Pitt. He also starred in memorable films like Out of Africa with Meryl Streep, a sweeping romantic epic that remains one of his most beloved works. He even embraced thrillers and political dramas, always stretching himself and never afraid of complex material. Outside of film, Redford became a passionate activist, particularly for environmental causes. He spoke about climate change decades before it became a mainstream conversation. He supported conservation, renewable energy, and indigenous rights. Through both the Sundance Institute and the Redford Center, which he co-founded with his son James in 2005, he funded projects that tackled pressing social and environmental issues. Of course, Redford's life also had moments of heartbreak. He lost his first son, Scott, to sudden infant death syndrome in 1959. Later, in 2020, his son James, known as Jamie, died from liver cancer at just 58. These tragedies left a mark on Redford, who spoke quietly but openly about the pain of losing children. He was a man who knew grief intimately, and that depth often showed in his performances. Despite such losses, his personal life was filled with love. He was married twice, first to historian Lola Waganen, with whom he had 4 children, and later to German artist Sybil Sagshar, whom he married in 2009. Those who knew him personally described him as thoughtful, sometimes reserved, but deeply committed to his family and his principles. In the 2000s and 2010s, Redford showed no signs of slowing down. He appeared in blockbuster films like Captain America: The Winter Soldier in 2014, proving he could still command the screen even in the age of superheroes. His performance in All Is Lost in 2013, a nearly wordless survival drama about a man stranded at sea, earned him critical acclaim, with many arguing he should have won another Oscar. By 2018, Redford announced that The Old Man and the Gun would be his final acting role. It was the perfect farewell, a charming, bittersweet story about an aging outlaw who couldn't stop chasing adventure. Critics and audiences alike agreed it was a fitting end to a legendary career. But in 2025, he surprised fans one last time with a cameo in the series Dark Winds, a brief but powerful reminder of his enduring screen presence. When the news of his death broke, the reactions were immediate and emotional. Jane Fonda, his co-star and lifelong friend, said she couldn't stop crying, describing Redford as a man of grace, integrity, and unmatched talent. Meryl Streep called him a lion of cinema. Directors like Ron Howard praised him as an artistic game-changer, while countless others, from actors to politicians, honored him not just as an entertainer, but as a cultural leader. Fans flooded social media with clips from his films, quotes from his interviews, and personal stories of how his work inspired them. Robert Redford's legacy is staggering. As an actor, he gave us unforgettable performances. As a director, he earned respect and acclaim. As a festival founder, he changed the landscape of film forever. As an activist, he championed causes that will outlive him. Few people achieve even one of those legacies. Redford achieved them all. At 89, he leaves behind a world better than the one he entered. His story is one of resilience, vision, and passion. He was more than just Hollywood royalty. He was a man who believed in the power of art to change lives, in the responsibility of fame to create change, and in the beauty of nature worth protecting. Robert Redford may be gone, but his voice, his films, and his vision will echo for generations. His life is a reminder that legends don't die. They live forever in the stories they told, the people they touched, and the worlds they left behind. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.